Su'u marom einechem u'ru'u, says the Navi Yeshaya. Raise your eyes to the heavens and perceive. Look at the stars. Ru'u, perceive. Mi bara ele. Who created this? From the dawn of mankind, civilization, we've seen the phenomena of nature. And without really understanding what causes the different phenomena of science, nature, ascribed it to God. So let's take lightning, for example. What causes lightning? What is lightning? It's an act of God's wrath, God's anger. And then one day, some guy named Franklin goes flying a kite and discovers that, no, wait a minute, it's actually electricity. There's a science behind it. And you can offer theories and explanations, and it has to do with differentials of static electricity, negative charges and positive charges. And no longer did mankind need to just resort to explain the phenomena of nature by saying it's God, but we can now explain it by saying it's science. We can measure it, predict it, detect it, calculate it. And over the last few centuries, with the increase of scientific understanding, mankind, many in mankind, have drifted away from God. Because we don't need to ascribe the world around us to God. It's science. We can explain it. We could comprehend it. We could predict it. And of course, Yeshaya Hanavi is telling us, Su'u einechem maro, Su'u maro einechem ru'u mi bara ele. Someone with a keen eye understands, yes, lightning can be predicted. Yes, lightning can be calculated. Yes, lightning can be explained with science. But mi bara ele, who created science? Where did it come from? My dad of blessed memory, of course, took that message to heart. To know my dad was to know someone who had a deep appreciation of the world around him, science, nature, and had such a profound, deep connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with God in heaven. And the two reinforced one another. The better he understood science, the deeper he saw HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the deeper he saw God in the world around him. My dad was not the type of person who was easily excitable. There were very few things that you could see him, like, would bring a smile or bring a light to his eye. One was a good shot in Gemara, or a Hasidic Shavartz, or a keen understanding in science. Those were his two loves. But the Chovos Halvavos explains, when he quotes that pasuk, Su'u maro meinechem ru'u mi bara ele, raise your eyes to the heavens and perceive who created this. The Chovos Halvavos takes it a step deeper. He says it's actually a religious mandate. It's an imperative. Study science. Study the world around you. Observe, comprehend, and have a deeper connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by seeing his creation. By seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu in nature. His entire Shara Bechina, he discusses this idea of be inspired by science. An amazing story. It was one of the most profound lessons of my life. It was only a few months before my dad passed. Don't ask why, but I was studying, I was doing a lot of reading on physics. Now, little story. I never took a day of physics in my life. I don't know anything about physics. And I don't know what got into me. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to learn. And I was reading a couple books on just Physics 101. Of course, my dad being the physicist, so every now and again, or pretty regularly, I would ask him questions to explain something to me. And I'll never forget, it was just only a few months before his passing. And I asked him what I think is a really good question. I had been studying gravitation, gravity. And one day, apocryphally, an apple falls and hits Newton in the head. And Newton develops his theory of gravity, writes formulas. He creates Newtonian physics. And so the world went. Until 1915, a guy named Einstein upended the world of physics, and he created a totally new theory to explain gravity, general theory of relativity. Einstein has his theory of gravity, Newton has his theory of gravity. Different calculations, different formulas. So I asked my dad, I said, Abba, I don't understand. Newton has his pshat. He's got his Torah. He's got his calculations and his formulas. Einstein, he has his calculations, his theories, his formulas. They're just arguing about the numbers. But I said, Abba, I don't understand. They're arguing about the numbers, but before we get to the numbers, shouldn't we be asking, well, why does mass attract mass? Why does gravity exist in the first place? And if we can understand why mass attracts mass, why gravity exists in the first place, then we'll figure out who's right. Is it Newton? Is it Einstein? Do we understand? First, let's understand why this thing is happening, and then we'll be able to decide, is Einstein right? Is Newton right? I think that's a good question. I thought it was a good question. And I'll never forget what my dad told me. He taught me such a profound lesson. I want to share it with all of you. It changed my life, and I hope it changes yours. He said, Nachum, I want to teach you something fundamental. Fundamental to the entire understanding of all of science. He said, first of all, I want you to understand, Newton was a genius. His theory is brilliant. It's incorrect. Indeed, Einstein is right. At least that's what modern science believes. But his theories are brilliant. We build skyscrapers, bridges, airplanes using Newtonian physics. And even though indeed it is incorrect, it's incorrect in such marginal cases, black holes and subatomic particles. Newton was a brilliant, brilliant man, and his theories are brilliant. They work. Einstein, he said, general theory of relativity is just a beautiful theory. It took Einstein forever to develop it, and the numbers and the calculations. And Einstein was able to predict that there are things called black holes and all sorts of amazing things in the heavens. Brilliant formulas, brilliant thinkers. But he said, Nachum, I want you to understand something fundamental. Einstein was interested in understanding what gravitation is. Newton was interested in understanding what gravitation is. Why does mass attract mass? Why does gravity exist? He said there's no answer to that question. Science doesn't even begin to try to answer that question, because that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We can calculate with tremendous precision from the most tiny of subatomic particles. We can measure their attraction and gravitational pull. We can predict gigantic universes and galaxies and the force of gravitation on these gigantic levels with tremendous precision, calculation, Newton, Einstein. But why does mass attract mass? There is no answer to that other than there is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God willed it. Science is brilliant. Science is amazing. But where did science come from? There is no answer to that question other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My dad lived his life by seeing HaKadosh Baruch Hu behind the science. He had such a deep, profound appreciation of the Bria, of this magnificent creation, universe that we live in. And he saw that behind that beautiful symphony, there's an amazing conductor and composer. Where did my dad get that strength? Where did he get that inspiration? The answer is this room. My dad got so much chizuk, so much strength from the Torah, from the tefillah, and most importantly, from the people inside of this room where we sit tonight. On behalf of my family, my siblings, my mom, Shabrafu Shalema, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving my dad so much strength and inspiration and chizuk to be that person who's able to have that inspiration that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that beautiful artist who painted such a beautiful world, and he could live his life with such inspiration. I want to thank you all for this beautiful tribute. And I want to ask each and every one of you one favor. Tonight, you go home. I want you to look up the stars. I want you to look at the heavens. I want you to raise your eyes and look. I want you to perceive. I want you to think of my father's memory. Think of him. Be inspired by the life that he lived. Be awed by the universe. Be awed by the creation. And then ask yourself, me, bara, Elah, where did this all come from? And Be'ez Hashem, if we can be inspired by the beautiful, magnificent universe that we live in, Be'ez Hashem, it should be a zechus for my dad, and Be'ez Hashem, a zechus for this entire community. Thank you all so very much.